Hey, what's up, fellow traders? I hope you guys had a great weekend. You came back locked and loaded, and you're off to a good start. It's been a really, really incredible couple of days um, in this market. I mean, really, really incredible. There's one trader I was working with for the last 2 days. He's got um, how many accounts? I can't. He either has 3 or 5 accounts. I can't remember. But in these 2 days, he's maximized how much he can make in the eval, and in 2 days, he's reached his level. I mean, so really for the next 3 days, he's just got to trade. Take a couple of trades, but the market. I say that to say the market's just been really, really good these last couple of days, giving us some pretty good moves. But what I want to talk to you guys about today, and this is a question that a lot of traders have. This is a dilemma that causes a lot of issues in traders. Um, do I follow my trading strategy, or do I just follow my trading intuition, my gut feeling? Okay, and honestly, both of these are very, very important to the success of professional traders. But non-professional traders, independent retail traders that are just trying to do this and learn it and become successful, they have a real hard time trying to marry the two and not really understanding what it takes. So we're going to talk about that here today. But first, I want to remind you guys about Trade Day. This is the second broker that I'm working with. They recently made some changes that pretty much put them online with Take Profit Trader. Before, I felt Take Profit Trader was leaps and bounds above everybody else. Right now, I think they're neck and neck. So, reason being, just to give you an indication, and this is why I like Trade Day and why I recommend this for new traders, brand new traders coming into the prop firm space. I recommend this because you have an option. You have 3 different types of drawdowns, and depending on how you trade and how comfortable you are, that's going to determine what type drawdown you want. Now, I honestly, when I first tried, trading with these guys, I just got one of each account. And trading like I normally trade, I blew the static account in one day because I had lost over $500. I had some challenges that day, or made a mistake, or didn't see something. Something happened, and I took 2 losses that I shouldn't have taken. However, both of these accounts would eventually, in the next several days, get back on track and I make my profit target. So, the end of day, you have to be, if you're using the static, you got to be careful. Really trade smaller size and don't try to get to this all at once. They do have a consistency rule, and the only tick that's got them just below take profit is the fact that they have a 30% consistency rule. Take profit has a 50%, which gives you a lot more leeway. But everything else is pretty much the same. I just like the fact that you could choose. And if you have any questions and you can't figure out which one is the best, just reach out. My email ed@tradingperformancespecialist.com, or you can leave a message on this video. But my email will be in the I will have my email address in the comment section or the description of the video. But just wanted to point that out. The rule that they changed, they used to have a 7-day eval. Now is 5 days. Kind of matches Take Profit Trader. But their discount is 30% off. You can trade multiple accounts now. There was a time where you couldn't do that. So everything is pretty much spot on. Now discount code on this is AJT 66, and I will have a link, a direct link to it, or you can log in and make sure you use my discount code to get the best deal. All right, so trading strategy. I don't know why I just put a piece of candy in my mouth when I'm in the middle of doing a video. That just makes absolutely no sense. But a lot of people like to trade, and they like to do things off of a gut feeling. Okay, it's like, man, I've lived my life and I've stayed out of trouble by using my intuition. But the thing is, intuition is based on experience. Okay, it is really based on experience. And knowing how and when to use it and when to avoid using it, is really key. And how it helps, your actual trading strategy. Okay, it's, you gaining your intuition comes from a cumulative experience that you gain every day in the market. Okay, and it's almost subconscious. The same way we make decisions and we do things and we have triggers that cause us to do bad things in our trading, we have, all of these things come from our subconscious. We're not consciously thinking about it. It's something that we put in our mind as either a defense mechanism or something to let us know, hey, this is likely to happen next, so you better be careful. All right, so another thing is intuition. What it does is it naturally causes us to look for patterns in things. So I know you've heard a lot of teachers, a lot of gurus, say you can't use intuition. You've got to stick to your trade plan no matter what. And when you first start out, that's all you can do because you don't know any better. You haven't put the time in to really be able to develop anything. But also, your intuition is going to be there looking for patterns. So when we came into this, we automatically started looking at and learning patterns. Like this pattern, that pattern. There's a big, list of different candlestick patterns you could go with that will help you determine or predict what's going to happen next. All based on intuition. But that's why it's more subconscious. Okay, it's more subconscious. But we try to ignore it. And I know a lot of us are taught to ignore it in trading, but it can be our ally. Now I'm gonna tell you, this is where this talk came from. Okay, one of the sessions I had last week, he told me how he would get frustrated when he would learn the strategy, the process, the rules, and everything, and but yet he saw me trading, and I may change up, or I may change the plan in the middle of a trade, or something like that, all based on my intuition. Okay, but again, that intuition is based on my experience, my hours and hours and hours spent observing price action. Okay, not patterns, price action, and learning how to read candles and interpret the story that the market is trying to teach me. Not looking for patterns, but listening to the story. And that's a big part of our shadow mentoring, or my shadow mentoring program. Is my focus is on teaching you how to read the price action, to understand what the candlesticks are telling you. Now, I used to try to teach this in a class setting, trying to, bring in some live recorded stuff. Nothing beats coming in, not knowing what's going to happen that day, and listening to what the chart's telling us and make our decisions based on that. You can't beat that learning. I don't care what you do. You can't beat it. But you have to understand that when we start using intuition, it requires experience. So that's the main thing I want to kick out to you. Using intuition in trading is key to you being successful. But you can't use it until you become proficient in your trading. Okay, understanding how to read price action, understanding what story the market is telling you. All of these things have to be done. All right, so right now, most of you guys, if you're just starting out, you are discretionary rule-based traders, or rule-based discretionary traders, which means you have rules that determine your trade criteria. Whether you get in a trade, where your exits are gonna be, what position size you're gonna do, and all that stuff. Okay, so you have an idea of what the trade should look like, or what you want to do. Okay, but we have rules that govern when we take a trade and when we don't take a trade. All right, that's it. But over time, we start to see, remember, our intuition is naturally going to try and pick up patterns. So over time, we're going to see certain setups around a certain area, or certain setups that happen, and the market's trading a certain way, that even though your entry triggers, it's not a favorable situation for your strategy. You tend to pick that up subconsciously. Okay, when you start to think that, when you start to feel that, when you start to see that, you're starting to trade more with intuition. You're marrying that intuition with your, rules-based discretionary trading. And that allows you to be more accurate and more efficient in your trading. So instead of taking a trade and just sitting back waiting for it to hit your target, and it worked when we were trading stocks. But when we're dealing with a prop firm, and the prop firm's focus is on you taking profit, not sitting back waiting to get this huge move, then we're going to have to use more intuition to understand that, hey, we're in the middle of a move, but we've got support building, or something's happening here that's going to take this back the other way. So we need to lock in profit now and then sit back and wait and see what happens. Okay, that's how we use our intuition. Now, I know we talked about whenever, if you went through any of my trading psychology classes, and I rely heavily on a lot of the teachings from Mark Douglas. And, he talks about this. And he talks about, how we develop into this. All right. And it's something that we have to learn again. And we get through, we develop this through experience. Okay, so intuition is really, really good for you traders that have got to the point where you understand what you're doing, you're halfway decent reading price action. You may not know it 100%. You may not have been taught how to, interpret the story of the candlesticks. You may still be trying to look for patterns, but intuition is what's going to take you from where you are now to where you want to be, but it has to be done right. You have to learn the right things you need so that you can gain the experience that you're going to have in order to get there. Okay, but it's very, very bad for new traders to start trying to trade with intuition. You've got to gain experience. Okay? You've got to gain experience. All right? Reason being, okay, if you're a novice and you're not working with anybody, okay, you're going to have what we call unconscious incompetence. That means you don't know what you don't know because you haven't been exposed to it yet. Okay? So it's going to leave you dazed and confused. And a lot of that happens when we try to copy people that we follow. Now, I know that the internet craze, the YouTube craze, or the Discord craze, where you have live people trading and all this stuff. But hey, if you don't know what you don't know and you're not getting it, and you're trying to work with somebody that does, it's going to be rough. Okay. Then you run into conscious incompetence. That means up front, what you don't know. You already know what you don't know. And you know what you need to get, but you still screwed it up. You know what I'm saying? You still screwed it up. And then, you've got conscious competence. That means you're consciously focused on certain things. And you're consciously looking for patterns, which you don't want to do. I'm going to say it again. You don't want to sit here and look for patterns. Okay. Now, you can. Okay, let me take that back. You can look for patterns. But you must have good intuition to know when a pattern is going to be good for you to engage or when it's not. Because there are a lot of times where the patterns are not going to engage right, or you're going to need intuition to get you to understand, okay, I might need to bend this rule on my entry or on my exit because this is what's happening on the chart. Okay, you use intuition for that. But, one thing about it, you're going to get to the point where you have unconscious competence. Meaning you could come in and you do it and you look for things without even thinking about it. Okay, this is where we want to get to in our trading. And this is how we keep all of these demons out of our heads. All of these bad habits that we have. These bad trading things that we go through. Once we have gotten to the point where we have unconscious competence, meaning we just do this thing without having to think about it and focus on it and force ourselves to do it every day, we're going to get to where we want to be. The only way to get there is through gaining intuition through your trading experience. Now, can you trade without it? Yeah, you're going to be moderately successful. And some of you are probably trying to figure out why you're not making any more money right now. A lot of it has to do with not developing the intuition you need to go along with your rules-based discretionary trading strategies. And that's all. It's just as simple as that. And like I said, once I got this, and once my mentor got me understanding this, it just really freed up my trading. Because whenever you act on intuition, it requires letting go. Okay, the conscious mind freezes up because it doesn't know exactly what to do, but your subconscious mind keeps you going. It protects you because instinctively you know when you need to get out. You don't have to think about it. You know that trigger when it hits. And you know that you can capitalize on a larger move, or a larger move is coming and you can capitalize on it based on what you see. Okay, that's what this is all about. It is very difficult, but once you get it, you got it. Okay? And what you're fighting against, again, you're fighting against human nature because your logical mind is going to want to make the decisions. Or you might have an ego that, wants to be in charge. If that's the case, then yeah, you're going to have to do a little bit more work to exercise those demons. Okay? But that's the hard part. But, again, it's not required that you use it. But if you're going to be a professional trader and you really want to, make this work, you're going to have to figure it out. You're going to have to get intuition working. And you're going to have to get to where you have unconscious competence. Okay? Most of us can be very good, intuitive, rules-based, discretionary traders if we learn, everything we need to learn about price action, understanding what the price action and the candlesticks are telling us in the market, and it's based on accumulated experience over time. You can't shortcut experience. You can't. I wish you could. I'd be a very rich man. But you can't. All right, so we have to develop that unconscious competence through our intuitive mindset. All right, so I hope this helps you out. Hope it helps you understand. But that's one of the things that I'm doing in the Shadow Mentoring program that I have. Okay, I realized all of the classes that I did using dead charts, trying to use live examples, we already know what's going to happen. True learning takes place in the moment. And that's where I feel the Shadow Mentoring is. To everybody has done it with me, it's invaluable. Now, yeah, obviously I can't take that many people because this is a one-on-one thing, and we're on for several hours at a time for the most part. Um, there's no set time limit. I try to set it as a max of 3 hours because that's usually as long as the session is going to trade. But what I want you guys to do to understand is that you have to learn in real time. This is an industry, this is a profession that you have to basically learn on the job and learn in real time. Because nothing I can do can prepare you for what's going to happen in the market without just me being in the market with you while you're doing your trading, while you're narrating. Narrating is a big part of helping you develop intuition. It's actually a big part of helping you develop, intuition. Some people call it commentating. You're talking through things. You're talking through your strategy. You're talking through what you see. And that's what we're doing. We're bouncing things off, helping you understand whether you're seeing what's actually happening, whether this is something to fool you. None of us are perfect. We will get fooled every now and then, but we won't get fooled most of the time. And that's all we're going with. But if you're interested in it, before I get I think I've got one more. I just got somebody in this weekend. But, get with me. You can email me, ed@tradingperformancespecialist.com, or send a message here, or go on the website, send a message, or I'm going to have my email in the description of this video. But that's what I wanted to share with you today. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please reach out. And until later on this week, we're going to go ahead and call it a day. We'll see you soon.